Hello, and welcome to the Smart Injury Doctors Podcast, the injury market's top program for doctors, lawyers, and insurers who want to gain greater insight on how to improve patient recovery results and deliver better services in the U.S. injury market. Please welcome your host, Dr. Jeffrey Allen Kronk.
Hello, and welcome to today's program. What I want to talk about today is this concept that injury patients are only interested in money. You know, I spend a lot of time with a lot of doctors, and one of the things that comes up a lot is there is a section of there are doctors that think that injury patients are only interested in the money, that if you want to actually help them, you have to explain to them that they have to stay, congruent with your treatment plan, because if not, they will lose money. They'll lose money on their injury claim. In the 17 years that I practiced chiropractic, I never once spoke to a patient about the money that they were going to receive or how much money. I do remember one time a patient asking me how much money they thought this injury was worth in my experience. And I told him I had no idea. And I didn't, because injuries can be all over the place. If they go to trial, they can be, it can be all over the place. And that's not my job. That's not my job as a doctor. Now, here's what I'm going to tell you. And this is my experience. I may be naive. I may be a doctor that is just, too optimistic. But I think that that's exactly the wrong direction. And every time I hear a colleague say, look, patients are just interested in the money, I always contest that. That was never my experience. And if that is your experience out there, if you are treating patients that are coming in and saying, well, doc, how much do you think I'm going to make? I really would be questioning. I know for me personally, I wouldn't run that kind of practice. That's not the kind of practice. Now, that may alienate some colleagues right now, and that's not what I want to do. But what I do want to do is I want to talk about the fact I've talked about in other podcasts. I've talked about marketing, and marketing is attracting who you want and repelling who you don't want. In my own private practice, my own private injury practice, I would not want patients who are thinking about how much money are they going to make on their injuries, because to me, that's an other intention. I want people that are injured, that are completely 100% focused on finding the best doctor that they can possibly find, because their lone interest at this point is just recovering, is just getting better. That's the way the market should be. Again, I've spoken with consultants before, and I've heard other doctors in the field, and it's always, Jeff, you're so naive. You got to talk to doctors about the money. You got to talk about the money, because all the patients want is money, and they've got to be able to talk to their patients about the money. I think that's absolutely ludicrous. I think that when a doctor is talking to a patient about settlement money that they possibly can get from the insurance carrier, I think that's kind of ludicrous. I don't think that's a good practice at all. And I think what that does is it draws the type of patient. If you're out there and you do that now, it's fine. If you're doing it and you're listening to this podcast and you say, hey, I'd like to change that, then the way you change it is not to talk about it. The way you change that is to tell the patient, look, I have no idea. That's between you, the insurance company. That's between you and an attorney. That's between you and that process. My job here with you is to take your injuries and get them to a great recovery. And that's what I'm interested in. Now, if you're interested in that, you're interested in fully getting committed to fully recover quickly, fast, effectively, if at all possible, then I'm in. If that's not your intention, you may not be in the right center. You may not be working with the right doctor. I may not be the doctor for you. And that's how strongly I feel about that. Because what I wanted to have, and what I want doctors to have that are what I call smart injury doctors, is I want them to have a practice where they're attracting people who are injured and are looking for the best the best doctors to actually work with so that they can get a full recovery. Doctors, kind of think of it, if you have someone that you love, a son, a daughter, a wife, a significant other, a girlfriend, a boyfriend, a mom, a dad, a sister, a brother, somebody that you really care about, and they get injured, say in a car accident, and now they have neck pain and they are getting migraine headaches. Your first thought generally is not, oh my gosh, they're going to make so much money in an insurance settlement. This is so great for them. Oh, let me just send them over to this guy because he's really good at getting claim values up, and he's good at making sure that patients need long-term benefits. That's not the doctor you're going to look for a loved one. And that's not the doctor. If you wouldn't look for that doctor for a loved one, don't be that doctor. Be that doctor that actually people would search out for. Oh my God, my 19-year-old daughter at college now has had major spinal ligament injuries to her neck. She's now getting migraine headaches. I got to find somebody that really understands this so that she doesn't suffer with these for the rest of their life. I mean, the doctors that actually sit there and say, hey, patients are more interested in money. I say, okay, great. So the patient comes in and they get migraine headaches as a result of their accident. Now, you're going to tell me that they're actually interested in $2,500, $2,000, $10,000. How much would you pay? How much, doctor, if you're listening right now, how much would somebody have to pay you to have headaches for the rest of your life? How much would they have to pay you to have migraine headaches for the rest of your life? How much would they have to pay you to have chronic pain for the rest of your life? I don't think there's enough money. And for the settlement amounts that you're dealing with these patients, they're not in it for the money. And if they are, it may be the wrong patients. Those to me are the patients that maybe are doing some questionable things or possibly are also restricting or retarding their care and their results. Because that's what I would be afraid of if I was a doctor and those were the types of things that the patients were communicating. So I am old school, maybe I'm optimistic, maybe, but I believe that this market and in this new market, and when I say the new market, I'm saying the new market is going to be a market based on results. It's a market based on feeding those doctors that can get great results quickly, cost effectively, and can seriously reduce down long-term benefit need, whether it's through work comp for an employer or it's through an auto, it's with an auto insurance carrier. It doesn't matter. It's for cash. For high-end patients that just will pay you cash, these people are all interested in finding doctors that can get truly great results. That's, for me personally, that's what I was interested in. It always kind of grates me when I hear doctors talking about, hey, these injury patients are just interested in the money. That's a real low look at human beings in my experience. Now, it can be true. Like I said, if it's true in your practice right now and you want to change that, then you have to look at how you're marketing and how you are being perceived. Because if that's how you are being perceived, if I'm sitting there and I'm going, oh, you know what? I just got into an auto accident, and you know what? I can make some money on this. And you know what? I heard there's this really good doctor that helps you make money on these cases, so I'm going to go to that doctor. If that's how that doctor is perceived, that's what he's going to attract. And that to me is not a very purpose-driven injury practice. That's not why I got into being a doctor in the first place. And I don't think it's why a lot of you are doctors either. So, this idea, if you're in a practice like that, it's marketing that gets you out of it. And I'll tell you what, it feels so good. Like I said, in my 17 years, I had one guy ask me one time, and in the whole 17 years, that never came up in a conversation in my private practice. Now, some doctors will say, oh my God, that's crazy. But I also know there's some of you out there that are saying, you know what, that's my practice too. And if that is your practice and you are capable of getting great results, then I think you are the doctors that should be seeing these patients. I really do. So that's what I wanted to talk about on today's podcast. I just wanted to actually do a short talk on the fact that I don't think that the average injury patient in the injury market, I don't think their first thought is, okay, God, I'm injured. I'm going to make some money here. That's not their first thought. Their first thought is, hey, I'm injured. How do I get help? I don't want this. I don't want to have this for the rest of my life. Again, doctors, think about if you have a loved one, where would you send them? You'd need a great doctor. And all I'm saying today on this podcast is be that great doctor. Be that great doctor that everybody would look for. Strive for that, and you will really excel in the injury market. Doctors, all of these podcasts are short, sweet, and to the point. I just take a particular topic, talk about it a little bit. Hopefully it helps you in some way to look at maybe this topic a little different than you have before. Doctors, if you have a particular dislike in the market or you have a comment, put it below. Put those things below. Those are the things that help me to decide what I want to spend 8 to 13 minutes talking about on each podcast. Doctors, thank you very much for tuning in today. I look forward to you on the next podcast. Thank you.
You've been listening to the Smart Injury Doctors Podcast, the #1 audio production show for professionals in the U.S. injury market that want to deliver better injury services to the patients, clients, or insureds they serve. If you like what you heard today, please leave us a review and don't forget to join us on our next program.